When I went back to Uruguay the second time, I didn't start with the clubs. I already knew how that would go. Calls wouldn't be returned, meetings wouldn't happen, doors would stay closed. So I changed my approach. Instead of trying to go through the front door, I decided to go somewhere else, somewhere more personal. I went to the neighborhood where the kid's family lived, not to confront anyone, not to ask questions, just to understand. It wasn't a place I was familiar with. Small streets, modest homes, people who knew each other. The kind of place where outsiders don't go unnoticed. Especially someone like me, I didn't arrive empty-handed. Before going there, I had already made arrangements. I contacted a large sporting goods store and placed an order. Enough equipment for an entire youth team. Jerseys, shorts, balls, everything they would need. But I didn't deliver it myself. I had the store send everything directly to the kid's family, with a message. The equipment was to be donated to the children of the neighborhood. In his name, no conditions, no expectations, just a gift. I knew it would raise questions, and that was the point. The next morning, I got my answer. The pastor from the local church came to see me. He wasn't alone. The kid's father was with him. They had found out where I was staying. They didn't sit down right away. They stood there for a moment, looking at me, trying to figure me out. The pastor introduced himself, then he introduced the father, not by his first name, just his last name. Then he got straight to the point. He said, "Nobody does something like this without a reason. What are you trying to do to this man and his family? What do you want from them?" I told him the truth. I told him I didn't want anything, no deal, no agreement, no repayment. I explained why I was there, what had happened in Europe, how the situation had unfolded, and how I saw it. I told him I didn't blame the kid. Not really. He was young, impressionable, easy to influence. And Marco was everything he thought he wanted to become. A professional player, playing in Europe, living the life he dreamed about. So when Marco spoke, he listened. I told them. I understood that. I told them there were no strings attached to what I had sent. It was a gift. Nothing more. For a moment, neither of them said anything. They just stood there, processing it, trying to decide if they believed me. Eventually, the pastor nodded. Not an agreement, just acknowledgement. Then they left. That same day, I went back to trying to contact the clubs. Calling, asking, trying to set meetings. Nothing had changed. No one was available. No one was interested. By the end of that trip, I still hadn't made any progress. Not one meeting, not one conversation that moved things forward. So I left again, back to the United States, with nothing to show for it. But something had changed. I just didn't know it yet. Back in the United States, I kept thinking about everything that happened. After that meeting, the conversation with the pastor, the way they looked at me, and what it all meant. After they left, I had stayed there for a while, thinking about what I had said and how it had been received. There was still doubt. I could see it in their faces. They didn't fully believe me, and I understood why. From their perspective, nothing about me made sense. I was a foreigner, someone who had already been involved in a deal that ended badly, someone who had now come back and given something away. With no contract, no expectations, no leverage. That's not how business works, especially not in football. So to them, it didn't add up. Later that day, I went back to doing what I had been doing before, trying to reach the clubs, making calls, asking for meetings, hoping that something had changed. But nothing had. The response was exactly the same. Or more accurately, there was no response at all. No one called back. No one made time. No one showed any interest in sitting down with me. I tried different approaches, different times of day, different ways of introducing myself. It didn't matter. The result never changed. By the end of that week, it was clear. I wasn't getting anywhere. Not yet. So once again, I packed my bags and left, not frustrated, not angry, just aware. Aware that whatever this was going to be, it wasn't going to happen quickly. Back in the United States, I went straight back to work. Clients were waiting, deals needed attention. Life didn't stop just because something hadn't worked. But this time, something was different. Before, when I came back, I was focused on what I had lost. Now, I was thinking about what I didn't understand. There was a system there, an unspoken one, built on relationships, trust, reputation. And I had tried to enter it the wrong way. I'd approached it like a transaction, when it wasn't one, not at that level, not in that environment. And that realization stayed with me. It didn't go away, even when I was working, even when I was focused on other things. It was there, in the background, slowly changing the way I thought about everything. What I didn't realize at the time was that the second trip had already done something the first one never could. It had changed how people saw me. The first time I went to Uruguay, I was just another outsider. Someone trying to make a deal. Someone asking questions. Someone looking for access. But the second time, I didn't ask for anything. I showed up. And I gave something away. Without a contract, without protection, without expecting anything in return. And in a place where people are used to being approached for what they have, that stands out, even if they don't understand it right away, even if they don't trust it. They remember it. And that's what started to happen. Quietly, without me being there, people started talking, not about the deal, not about the money, but about me. About what I did, about the fact that I came back and didn't try to take anything. And in that environment, that matters more than anything you can say in a meeting. Because trust there isn't built in conversations. It's built in actions. And actions travel from one person to another, from one neighborhood to the next. Until eventually, they reach the people who decide who gets access and who doesn't. I didn't know it yet, but something had already started to change. The door I had been trying to force open was no longer closed. This time, it was just waiting.